Did you have aquamarine?
This stone is of very poor quality. These dealers' first response is to offer extremely poor samples at astronomical prices to test the potential buyer.
Did you have best and big pieces?
After some deliberation, he decides to get some advice from his colleagues before showing off his real treasures. The reply seems positive. The rustic appearance of these workshops is meant to deceive people who know little about the world of precious stones. The real showroom, reserved for the initiated, is far more discreet. In this well-guarded room, the dealer stores the treasures he has accumulated during the summer months, when the snow on the highest seams melts, allowing the miners to extract the crystals. In actual fact, the real market is not here. This man is just a collector who sends the fruits of his endeavors to contacts in cities in Pakistan where a handful of intrepid foreign clients dare to venture.
It's a nice piece. Quartz and aquamarine. A very nice shape.
These aquamarine crystals will go to museums or private collectors. The damaged but very pure, intense blue crystals will be sold to be cut. There are several mines in northern Pakistan that supply exceptional aquamarines.
Is this aquamarine come from which mine?
From the sugar mine.
Huh. Nice piece. And it's possible to see the mine of sugar?
The sugar mine is closed because of the snow, but the Shumar Bakar mine is open. I can introduce you to someone there.
It's the iron in aquamarine that makes it blue. It also contains silica, aluminium and beryllium, a rare metal so hard and resistant to high temperatures that it is used in alloys for aircraft.
Let me introduce you to Mr. Gulmurtaza. He works in the Shumar Bakar mine, and he can take you there and show you around.
Hello, my name is Gulmurtaza. I work in Shumar Bakar.
I want to see a mine of aquamarine, perhaps Shumar Bakar. It's possible?
Shumar Bakar is at a very high altitude. It's extremely dangerous to go there. And I think it would be very difficult for you to get there.
It takes 2 days to reach the Nagar Valley, where the Shumar Bakar mine is situated. A long time ago, when Shumar Bakar was discovered by hunters, only the inhabitants of Sumaya were allowed to exploit the precious stones. At first, there was no need to dig deep tunnels to find the aquamarines. The crystals could be found on the surface after being torn from the rock by erosion. Then people abandoned their jobs in the valley to work in the mine. As the number of prospectors increased, the search for stones became more and more intense. They bought equipment to dig into the mountain. Their efforts were rewarded, and they found large quantities of aquamarine. In 1994, an enormous crystal weighing 4 kilograms was found lying in a fault in the rock on a bed of mica. All the miners had to do was pick it up, It was the most spectacular find since the mine opened. The weather changes fast in the mountains. This is the major risk, and the miners know that.
What do you think? Do we have to go back down?
With this bad weather, we can go back down if you wish. We could sleep down there and come back up tomorrow morning. It's difficult to climb up there in this weather.
The atmosphere is tense. We have entered the spirit's kingdom, and everyone has lost a loved one on this mountain. The incantations of the shaman must have worked. Several hours later, the clouds clear from the horizon. But superstition persists. 2 years ago, a group of men climbed up without the shaman's protection. It was obvious that the spirits did not approve of them looking for aquamarine and were disturbed by their pneumatic drills and dynamite. Incensed by these intruders, they killed them in an avalanche. The hike resumes, but every step becomes heavier and more painful. The further you climb, the less oxygen there is. The group finally arrives at the Shumar Bakar mine. At almost 5,000 meters above sea level, this makeshift village is made up of 70 small houses built of dry stone walls with canvas sheets for roofs. Murtaza picks up the pace because he can't wait to see the aquamarines found in his absence. Every hut houses around 10 men, who eat, sleep and live in cramped and difficult conditions. Murtaza's father is one of the elders who looks after the village when his son goes down into the valley for equipment or to sell stones. He is happy to see his son again because there were some impressive finds while he was away.
No wash, huh?
No wash.
That's mica.
Yes, that's mica. Once it has been cleaned, this stone will be a very intense color.
Following the orders of the shaman, each time Murtaza returns, the old man burns juniper branches to purify his house and chase away the evil spirits, which could divert the men from the richest seams of crystals. This time, the old man is harboring a special secret. While his son was away, he found an exceptional stone. No one else has seen it, and it must stay hidden until it is sold in the city. Showing it off could stir up envy among the other men. Aquamarine grows in perfectly hexagonal crystals, which in this mine are particularly large and well formed. The irregular patches on each side of the crystal correspond to its natural growth. These are a guarantee of its quality and proof that it has not been cut, which would devalue the stone considerably in the eyes of collectors. The exceptional stone found by Murtaza's father remains out of sight. The breathtaking altitude of Shumar Bakar makes it one of the highest mines in the world. The miners tunnel into the enormous white seams that are clearly visible on the mountainsides. This is where the aquamarine is to be found. 65 million years ago, the Tethys Sea was where Pakistan now lies. Then a volcano thrust from the ocean, forming an island that would become Kohistan. The Indian tectonic plate moved gradually under the Asian plate, pushing back the sea. This mighty shift created the highest mountains in the world, the Himalayas and the Karakoram. As the mountains formed, they drew the aquamarine from the bowels of the earth and deposited it close to their summits. Aquamarine is still forming today at the Earth's core, but while the Karakoram continues to grow a few centimeters higher every year, the erosion of its summit due to atmospheric conditions means the aquamarine is moving closer and closer to the surface. This rock is extremely hard, so blasting with dynamite is the best way to clear away the rock and reach the seams lined with crystals. The men who work in these tunnels have no formal training in using dynamite, and these dangerous techniques result in frequent accidents. The miners drill holes in the rock. The drills don't function well in these conditions where the oxygen is so thin. Then sticks of dynamite are placed in the holes. Then they mark the fuse with a piece of paper so they can find it easily when it's time to light it.
You have to be careful in the mine because of the dynamite. We've got to shift this stone. That's it, it's coming away now, and we'll blast away this block.
20 or so fuses have to be lit, and they are short, so there's no time to lose. One, 2, 3, 4. The miners count the explosions one by one, but this method is approximate, and one explosion can cover another.
Let's get him out of there.
Once again, the lack of organization and training of these shepherds-turned-miners has put their lives in danger. 2 of the fuses were much slower than the others, and the explosions took place as the men entered the tunnel. One of the men is injured in this lost world without medicine or surgeons. There is just a male nurse to dispense first aid.
He was inside the mine during the explosion, and a rock hit him on the head. I've put 2 or 3 stitches in the wound. He's a little better now.
Nothing is allowed to stop the search. The explosions have opened up a pocket of crystals, and for these miners, the aquamarines are more important than their own lives. With extreme care, as if they were handling a newborn child, the miners begin to extract the aquamarine from a fault covered in mica. The contrast between these rough-looking men and the delicate way they extract the fragile crystals is striking. The crystals are often covered in brown iron oxide. Each time a crystal is taken out, the miners say a prayer of thanks. Nature is a capricious beast. It can take months of work to open up a pocket of aquamarine like this. Some tunnels never produce anything. Either Gulmultaza or his father is present for every discovery because they have invested the most in this tunnel. They've dug out a beautiful cluster of aquamarines. But the substance surrounding the crystals, called gangue, is too thick, making this stone too heavy. In this state, it'll be difficult to transport and to sell. One of the miners marks out the parts to be cut off. The gangue will be cut away with a diamond-edged saw. The job is carefully completed with a hammer and chisel so as not to spoil the appearance of the stone. The aim of these modifications is to make the crystals look as good as possible. The next stage is to remove the brown iron oxide, which obscures the deep blue color of the crystals. To do this, the aquamarine is dipped in a hot acid solution, which dissolves the iron oxide. After a thorough washing and then rinsing in water, the gem's true color appears. Several times a week, the men gather in the center of the village to sell their crystals according to an ancient tradition that could be called blanket bidding. These transactions can sometimes cause quarrels because the miners often overvalue their goods. After all, they risk their lives every day to obtain these natural marvels. The buyer and the seller each put a hand under a blanket spread on the ground. The buyer makes an offer by pressing on 1, 2, or 3 of the seller's fingers. The price depends on the number of fingers involved, following a precise code. Pressing on 1 finger means an offer of 100 rupees. Pressing on 2 fingers, one after another, is an offer of 200 rupees. 3 fingers equals 300 rupees, and touching 2 fingers at once is 1,000 rupees. Pressing on 3 fingers at once means 10,000 rupees. This way, the price is proposed anonymously. The highest bidder gets the stone. These men live in constant danger in austere conditions, without the company of women and children. To settle their disputes in this microcosm cut off from civilization and its laws, they have formed a committee of elders, called a jaga. This body makes the decisions that govern the men's lives, and such issues as investment in the village. Their word is final when it comes to sovereignty in this community. Thanks to the satellite phone installed a few months ago, Murtaza informs the biggest dealer in Peshawar that he will be coming to see him with an exceptional crystal, probably the one his father found. This treasure has remained hidden. Does it really exist? And is it as special as Murtaza's father says? For now, these questions remain unanswered. Murtaza, visibly in a hurry to sell the stone, sets off for the valley. In the Sumaya Valley, a dealer is ready and willing to buy some of Murtaza's aquamarine. Since they began finding precious stones on the mountain, the life of the people in the village has changed. Some have become miners, but others have gone into trading. They buy the stones to resell them to bigger dealers in Gilgit or Peshawar. Life for the village residents has improved greatly in just a few years. Rather than fritting away their money, they have used it to build schools for their children and health clinics. The price the dealer offers is too low. There will be no deal. Murtaza thinks he can get a better price in Peshawar. Murtaza will not show this dealer his exceptional stone because he thinks it is only worth displaying such a valuable piece to a dealer who can afford it. Murtaza is offering his aquamarine crystals to one of the biggest shops in the city of Mingora.
It's an aquamarine.
It's a beautiful piece. It's opaque at the bottom, but translucent at the top.
This city is in the Swat Valley, which is renowned for its emerald mines. The emerald is from the same family of precious stones as aquamarine, called beryl. It contains chrome, which gives it its vivid green color. The first emeralds from this region were found by shepherds, who collected them from the mountainsides to the north of the city. The emeralds found in Swat are sometimes extremely vivid in color and highly transparent, and for some people their strong, deep color puts them on a par with Colombian emeralds, which are reputed to be the finest of all. Unfortunately, stones above 2 carats, that's 400 milligrams, are extremely rare.
It's a beautiful piece, but the market for aquamarine is not very good at the moment. Emeralds are the only thing that is selling here. Try to sell it somewhere else.
All right, I'll try in Peshawar.
Do you have any others?
Yes, I've got a lot of pieces, but they're uncut. Next time I'll bring you pieces that have been cut.
Is there anything I can do for you?
No, thank you, that's fine.
Peshawar, the capital of the northwest province, was the gateway between Central Asia and the subcontinent. Today it is an observation point for the conflicts that grip this region. Peshawar has been a stopping place for travelers for thousands of years. It's a city of every type of trade and commerce. Murtaza goes straight to the jewelry quarter. The gem cutters are situated in Kabul Street on his route. His main appointment in this city is with one of Pakistan's most important gem dealers, Zarmast Khan. The most beautiful crystals and the most exquisite gems are brought to him before being cut. Murtaza unwraps his treasure.
Very well. How much are you selling it for?
Zarmast Khan doesn't hesitate for a moment. These are exactly the sort of stones he's looking for. Curiously, even though they are the most expensive, they are the easiest to sell. Wealthy collectors the world over are itching to get their hands on specimens like this.
You can pay me later.
No, I'll give you a deposit now and the rest later.
When
are you leaving?
On the 22nd or the 23rd.
He gives Murtaza an advance against its sale. The profits from the sale will then be shared between the two men. It's difficult to pay cash for a gem of this value, which is why they come to this arrangement. That same afternoon, Zarmast Khan has done another piece of business, and he can't resist showing his friend Murtaza specimens that he has acquired from Shigar.
A single piece isn't enough for me. That's why I bought these, which come from Shigar. Gul Murtaza called to let me know that he was bringing this beautiful piece. I've given him a good price for it. Other miners call me, and they either come to see me, or I go see them, and then we do business. The big markets are America and Europe, especially France and Germany. In the United States, we work with Tucson, Arizona.
So, after this long journey, the aquamarine extracted with sweat and blood from the roof of the world is flown to Europe, the United States and Japan to be sold. The purest and most highly colored specimens will be polished by gem cutters and set into jewelry.
Here you are. The piece of jewelry is ready on time as promised.
As always.
Do have a look at it. We found some very, very beautiful aquamarine pendants that we cut into briolets. And we used this system where you can remove all of the pendants, so the piece can be worn in different ways.
Superb.
Aquamarine, this symbol of purity, has changed the lives of the shepherds from the highest peaks of Pakistan. By opening up this paradise like a jewel box, could it be that the spirits wanted to reward the courage and tenacity of these pure souls?